Welcome to Manager League Training. Today we're going to go over the emailer. If you go here into communication, emailer, or you can actually go down to the communication box and click email. That'll bring you over to our emailer. So in here you'll have some options to create your email list. That's the first step of the emailer. So there's a couple different selection options up here. So on the player tab, you can choose registered. That's going to be the basic one that most of the time you'll use. So all the players who are registered or not registered, you also have not paid and new players. On the registered tab, you can choose which league you want it to go through, or you can select all leagues. You can select who you want to receive. So if we want just the parents to get the email, we can send it to the parents. If we want the parents and the players to get it, if we just want the players to get it, if we want all the people who are withdrawn right now to get the email, we can choose withdrawn. We have, say we want to include head coaches, assistant coaches, and any team additional contacts, we can do that as well. We can choose entire board, which is anybody who has the board box selected throughout your league. You can choose that, as well as any of the positions or board positions that we may have created will show up here as well, and we can choose to email those specific people. Now here are some of the filter options on the bottom. You can say membership status if you use memberships at all. You also have season, so you can say I want to do it for, right now it's going to be our season that we're currently in. It's going to select that automatically, but you can control and click multiple options in here if you want to email people from last season and say, hey, registration is now open for the current season, for the new season. You can do that, or you can select multiple seasons just to email everybody who's ever been registered. You can choose divisions. If you want to only email the minors A division or a couple of the divisions, you can select multiple. Or you can just email directly one specific team. There's also some things in here like tourney teams and affiliations. Any of the players that have those options selected, you can create the list that way as well. You also have a custom field filter, so you can email everybody who decided to check, to work concession. So anybody who said yes to working concession, you can filter it by that as well. So you can say, hey, everybody who applied, we're going to have a meeting on Wednesday or something. You can create a list based on those options. You also have the league age range, so you can choose to email players who are only a certain age. Then in the non-registered, you have a little less options. You can choose just basically anybody who's not registered for this season and include the entire board, or include any other people. You have the not paid, so anybody who still owes money, you can include the entire organization. Basically, this will send an email to anybody who currently has a balance that needs to be paid in the system. You can just send an alert out to them and say, hey, you owe us money. Make sure you log into the public site and make your payment. You also have any new players. So these will be the players who are non-returning. So if you can say, hey, we noticed you're new to the league. We always have a gathering on the first of the month before the season starts, something like that, if you want to just put an announcement out to the new players in the league, so players who were not previously here last year. We have a couple other options up here. You have missing documents, so if you're missing birth certificates or proof of residency, things like that, you can check those. So anybody who's missing a birth certificate, you can send out an email and say, we need your birth certificate. You have volunteers, so anybody who's signed up for any of these volunteer positions or who's scheduled for any of the positions. You have specific parents, so in here you can send to specific IDs. So if I want to send to ID number 11346 and parent number 7001, we can put a comma in here. We can put a whole list of parent IDs that we want to send to. So if I just want to send to 2 parents, I can put it in here and I can click search draft. We can also send to all the parents who don't have passwords set. We can tell them, we recommend setting up passwords so you can view your schedule. Here's the link to the login page where you can set up your password. You can also upload an email list. So for an email list, you would want to use a text file. Have every email separated by a comma, or place the emails on separate lines. So each new email would be on a new line of the file. You can upload that file here and it will create an email list. So if you have an exterior list, or if it's like a prospect list, things like that, you can add that email list in here. Officials, you can email all your officials right from this button. And then you can also email anybody who's missing any specific player records. So you can come in here. Let's say we want to just email these two parents. You click search draft. It'll gather all the information that you've put in and put your information here. So these two players actually had the same email address, so combine them into one so that it doesn't duplicate it here. You can see we have our from box. Our from box will send emails out based on, or send out your address based on the domain. So if we're on, right now we're currently on mylsports.com, our outgoing domain has to be mylsports.com. This is due to spam blockers and an email standard that a lot of the email providers do follow now. Basically, it's called DMARC, which basically states that you have to send from the domain that you're currently on, and a couple other things to do to make sure that your email isn't marked as spam. So if we're on mylsports.com, the email address that's outgoing needs to be mylsports.com. You can type in any email address you want in the from field, but your outgoing email address will be your league acronym at mylsports.com. If you've accessed your email from your domain, you can say have your domain here /admin, and you're actually in the admin panel. Your domain name can be that domain. So basically, if my page was myl.com and I have an address saying, league coordinator at myl.com, I could type this in here and my email will go out with that domain name attached to it. Now, when you put in your email address here and you're not sending from the same domain, so say it's a gmail.com address, it will attach itself to the email as the reply to, and it'll also put a field at the bottom saying reply to this address. So basically, if someone was to click on the email and click the reply button, it'll automatically put your email address in to reply to the email. So here we also have subject, so we can change the subject line of our email, as well as we can attach up to 3 files. Now you can see there is a max file limit, so your files can't be bigger than 500 kilobytes. Now we have our email list, so we can have a list of either one email here, we could have a list of 1,000 emails. What you can do is you can actually uncheck all of them and say, which one specifically you want to send to, or you can go through the whole list and uncheck the people that you don't want to send the email to. If the person has chosen to opt out of email previously, or you've put in to opt their email out, they will actually show up in a separate section that says blacklisted, and that email will not go out. When you do this, you may have 1,000 emails here. A good way to search through this list so that you don't have to sit there scrolling and trying to find the email address is just hit Control F. That'll activate the find function of your browser, and you can type in their name and it'll find it within that list. So just type in the name up here for Google Chrome and it'll find it down in the list here, and you can uncheck that email address. A couple more options here. You have templates. If you have templates stored in the system, you can go ahead and change and add a different template here. You also have a bunch of tags. So right here, if we were to start our email, we would want to say, hello, a standard greeting. But say we want to enter the person's name. Obviously, if we have a list of 1,000 people, we can't just individually add everybody's name. So what we can do is we can put this name tag in. And what that'll do is it'll insert the name of the person. So if the email is going out to a Jim, it'll say Jim. If an email is going out to a Will, it'll say Will. So now we also can insert different things like the ID. That'll give the person their ID number. So you can say, hey, your ID number is, and then the ID tag. So now the person knows their parent ID number. You have the registration tag. This will actually put a registration link into your email. So you're sending out an email saying, hey, registration's opening. Click the link below, put the registration link in. You also have the change password, so this will bring them over to a place where they can just adjust their password. You have auto login. This will actually automatically log them in to the front end. So you can say, hey, you need to make a payment. Click this link here to auto log in, and when they log in, they'll see the alert right on their page. Or even better, you can click the payment link, and it'll also allow them to make a payment. There's everything. You can add the assessments tag here. So if you schedule an assessment for this player, it'll put in the scheduled assessment here. There's different volunteer resources. Tell a friend. You can put in a link that'll allow them to put in other email addresses that they can send out to their friends and say, hey, join this league. You have a receipt summary, so that's going to be their registration receipt. And then this is also a button that'll take them over to update their records. Now, the rest of the editing here is done similar to like a Word document. You can even paste in a Word document. You can paste from Word. This is an HTML source, so if you want to type your email in HTML, you can click this here and you can actually see it in HTML. And there's different functions available: copy, paste, undo, spell checking. There's, the normal standard font options and the font options here. You also have your font color, your background colors. You can add a link, you can add a picture, you can add smiley faces. You can add whatever you like in here. You can also expand the window if you want the window to be bigger, so it's easier to see and type out your email, and then just click this button to minimize the window back down. Once you are done and you want to send this email off, you can actually click Send Mass Mail, and that will send the mail out. So you see it gave you a little spinner saying creating emails. That may take a little while. If you have 3,000 emails going out, that might take a while, as well as sending emails might take a while too. If you're sending 3,000 emails, it might take you 3 to 5 minutes for all the emails to send. Be patient, just leave the page up, all your emails will send. Obviously, like I said, if you send more information, if you send to 3,000 people and have 3 attachments to it, it's going to take longer. Every item that you add to it will increase the time, but just be patient. Click send. It will send. It usually, again, takes somewhere around 3 to 5 minutes for a larger email to send out. You may want to just leave the page up, go to whatever you're doing, check back, and make sure all your emails have sent. When you're done, you can click return. When you click return, it will bring you back to this page. That's because you still have a list created and it hasn't removed the list. So if I want to send to different people now, I don't need to log in and log out or click around. Anytime I come back to this page while I'm still logged in, it's going to bring up this list until I tell it to cancel and go back. So if you click cancel and go back, that'll bring you back to the mailing list. So that'll remove the mailing list that's in the system, and now it'll bring you back to create a new mailing list. So now I can go through and create a different mailing list. Say I want to email a different team or something like that. Now when I send my emails, you will actually see them in the email log, which is located in communication, email, and email log. So now this will pull up with all the emails we've sent. I usually click this little arrow here, so then that way it'll show the most recent email. So now we can see the email that I just sent out. We can click on the subject and it'll bring it up. See, we sent out just hello name. But you can actually do a couple things. You can edit and resend to the same recipients if you check that, if you want to do this. Or if you just click, you can see show recipients. You can see who received it. Thompson Corey received this one. Or we can close the window, or like I said, we can choose edit and resend. If we don't choose to the same recipients, what it will do is it'll actually bring us to this list. So now I can go to parents here and I can say, okay, I want to send this one to a different parent. So we can search the draft here, and now it'll load the text in, and now we have it to a different parent. So if you want to send the same exact email but to a different team, you can go to the email log, resend, and then set up a new list instead of sending to the same recipients. That's it for the email log training. Obviously, stay tuned for any more training videos, as well as thank you for using Manage Your League.